what's your story going to be about?
Okay, so my story is going to be about how I teach at Hardscrabble Club down the road. I teach kids about from 3 to maybe 10 tennis, and I teach about 2 days a week now. So it started out more of me when I was a kid. I used to love playing tennis, and I started helping out the coaches that were new to teaching children. I'd watched the other coaches teach, so I already knew it was going to happen, so I would go and help them out. And then I got the opportunity to start to test my own skills, and I got my own job, and I started teaching by myself. And I think I got the hang of it, and it was really awesome. And I've been able to test out my own problem-solving skills during that time. So.
Why was this so important to you? You sound enthusiastic about it.
I always loved tennis, and I didn't really get a chance as a kid to start. I kind of started I went for like a week when I was in 3rd grade, and then I really started when I was about 12. So I didn't really get the opportunity when I was a kid. And it was more of like a learning experience for me, and I thought that it'd be cool to work with children, sort of teaching. I feel like everyone has to go through that once in a while because it's a good skill to have, to be able to explain and to educate someone else on something that you're very passionate about. So, yeah, that was probably the main reason.
So how did you go about finding ideas, doing the research, finding ideas for how you would be teaching these kids?
It was mostly me observing other coaches. A lot of the time I had to ask other coaches that were working with children what games they played, because I used to play games that were more advanced because we had a higher level of body awareness than kids do, and we have more focus as older kids. So I would have to figure out some games that were more fun for children, that they would like, that were easier. So that was one. And then, yeah.
So when you think of all the possibilities for what you might do, how do you decide which ones are the best to use with a particular person you're teaching?
Usually it's about the mood the feeling that I get from the children. So if I feel like we've done enough drills and they're kind of getting a little bored, instead of doing more drills for the next set of strokes or anything, like if they want to do volleys, I'll play a game like Alligator where it's a volleying game, but yeah, it's a game, so they have more fun even though they're doing practice. So it's more kind of like sneaking it in there.
Do you so you have a lot of ideas, and then you figure out some that might work. Did you tell me about an idea that you thought would work but didn't, and what'd you do?
So a lot of the times the kids ask for rallying, so they can real tennis, and you have to kind of let them try it. And I thought my kids were ready at one point, but they weren't. They couldn't control the ball enough to hit it back and forth to each other. But I kind of fixed that up by implementing myself as one of the people, and then I would take turns hitting back and forth with them, and that was a lot easier since I had a larger range and I could just hit the ball back to them. So
cool. That's cool. So you really adapt it really, really quickly.
Yeah.
When you think about yourself or sort of remember your thinking, how do you think? What's your thinking process?
I'm not really sure. It's more I'm just feeling it out, and I kind of go along with whatever they want to do, and if it works out, then that's great. But if it doesn't, then I have to adapt pretty quickly and try to figure out a way to turn it around, since we don't have that much time, and I can't just spend time wasting. I can't waste time on something that won't be productive for them. That even if they're having a lot of fun doing it, if it's not really going to be helping at all, then there's nothing. I kind of have to figure out a way to make them move on. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Do you have to, when you have a plan for your teaching, do you have to check that out with a head coach or instructor or something?
Not really. When I first started teaching, the coaches, he gave us a packet mostly for newer teachers, and it was kind of the quick start packet for that the USTA, which is Tennis Association, gives out. But I didn't really look at that. I kind of already had some experience, so he told us that we could do whatever we felt was best for our teaching style. and as long as the kids kept improving, that we were doing a good job. So.
So did you ever you've ever felt a need that where you just were sort of stuck and you needed to go ask somebody for some help or ideas?
Yeah, I've had that. There are some kids that you get that don't really want to listen, or they don't like tennis, like their parents are pushing them and they don't really have an interest in it, and a lot of times those are the hardest kids to deal with because they want to sit out and they don't want to do anything, and sometimes you just have to like talk to the parents, or you have to talk to your coach about it and they'll go talk to the parents. So yeah, it's difficult when that happens.
When you picture yourself, think about, envision it and see it happening, what just makes you really happy and proud of what you do?
Whenever the kids move up a level, I feel like they get really excited about that, and sometimes I'll look on like the next court and my kids will have moved up like 3 full levels, and I know that like I taught them the basics for that, and now they're like really happy and they're having fun. They're playing like games across the entire tennis court, and they're like, it's really cool. It's just the progress.
Let's see, how would you have to get better? What would you have to get better at?
I'm not sure. It's maybe a little more of time management, because sometimes I think I lose time trying to make it more fun for the kids, and sometimes we don't have time for enough drills. But I mean, I think I've become really well-rounded. I've been doing this for a few years now, so yeah.
What have you learned about yourself as a problem solver?
I think that I've improved, and that I can like I've said a lot in the past of what I've been saying, I think I've become really good at adapting, and that I've become really good at having control over a situation, but not making it less fun or ruining it. So
do you feel like there's some sort of transfer? You've been learning all this in the context of becoming meeting these opportunities in this context of teaching tennis. Do you see any way that's transferred into other parts of your life?
Yeah, definitely. Especially since me playing tennis that was like the first time I had a boss. So you still have to report to your boss whenever you do anything, and I think that when I went to my internship later on, it was kind of gave me more of a perspective how I should be acting, and I was already used to the situation of like a boss employee relationship. I think
that's important.
Mm-hmm.
If you could, if we're talking, you're telling me your story. If you had one of your digital devices here, and you were going to show me some images, something, for 20 seconds, what would you show me?
Maybe a time lapse of one of the kids' improvements. I think that'd be cool. But also, I don't know, I think it's really fun when they figure out something and when they hit something really well and they're like, get really happy about it because they know they did something right. It's just,
would work out. Mm-hmm. How could you get the digital records like that? How could you?
I'd have to ask the parents, but I could probably get like pictures or videos of that.
Store them up.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you could tell me about any of this?
I think that this also helped me collaborate a lot. Like there are other coaches too, and so like collaborating with games and everything, if we feel that it's easier for us to teach all together, and we make it a lot more fun for the kids that way too.
Okay. So by talking it through like this, you talked it through in the mission committee, and then you talked it again here. Do you feel like there's a usefulness in being able to verbalize it in some detail like you've been doing?
I think so, yeah. I think that you have to be able to tell people about your problems, and you have to be able to explain yourself. I think that becomes important later on when you're trying to apply for jobs and when you're trying to apply for college, all the areas that you need to prove yourself in.
Yeah, we're thinking that sometimes if you haven't actually spoken it out, you may have the memories, but you've not spoken it out. That if you speak it out and tell your story and refine your story and kind of get comfortable with it and all that, that when you then have to use it in an interview or something like that, it isn't like you invented for the first time. It's kind of, you elaborate, and you're not just repeating what you've memorized, but it's different.
Yeah. It's very natural like that too.
Good. Thank you.